In the moments after Portugal lost to Morocco in 2022, I walked off that field knowing something had just died inside me. The stadium was still loud, thousands of people still screaming, but I could not hear any of it. All I could hear was the sound of a dream breaking. Not a small dream, not a simple wish, the biggest dream of my entire life. And it was gone, just like that. Gone. People see the trophies, people see the records, people see the goals and the celebrations and the titles, and they think they know my story, but they do not know this part. They do not know what it feels like to walk off a football pitch knowing that the one thing you wanted more than anything in your entire life just slipped through your fingers. Forever, the World Cup. That is the one that always hurt. That is the one that no Ballon d'Or, no Champions League, no record could ever replace. Because winning the World Cup is not just about football, it is about your country, it is about your people. It is about every single person back home who stayed up late to watch you play, every child who wore your number on their back, every old man who sat in front of his television and prayed for Portugal. When you think about it that way, it stops being about you. It becomes something much bigger than you. And that is exactly why it hurt so much when we lost, because it was not just my dream that broke that night. It was the dream of an entire country. And I was the one who was supposed to make it happen. I was the one who was supposed to bring it home. And I did not. I have lived with that ever since. Let me take you back to the beginning. Because to understand what this World Cup means to me now, you have to understand where I came from. I was born on a tiny island called Madeira, a place most people in the world have never visited and many have never even heard of. It sits in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, far away from the big cities, far away from the big football clubs, far away from everything. Growing up there was simple. My family did not have much. We had each other, we had our faith, and I had my ball. From the moment I could walk, I was kicking something. A ball, a bottle, anything I could find. The other kids would go home when it got dark. I would stay outside a little longer, always a little longer. Because something inside me knew that the time I spent with that ball was not wasted time. It was building something, something important, something that the world would one day see. My mother used to stand at the door and call me inside, and I would ask her for 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. She would shake her head and smile, because she knew, even then, she knew, this boy was not going to stop. This boy was going to chase this dream until he caught it, or it destroyed him. And honestly, there were moments when it almost did destroy me. The early years were hard, leaving home as a young boy to go and train in Lisbon, being away from my family for the first time, being the skinny kid from the island who everyone thought was too small, too weak, too fragile to make it at the highest level. I heard it all. You are not big enough. You are not strong enough. You will not survive at this level. Go back to Madeira. And every single time someone told me that, something happened inside me. Not sadness, not doubt, fire, pure fire. Because I have never in my life responded to doubt by giving up. I have only ever responded to doubt by working harder, by pushing further, by refusing to accept that the ceiling other people put on me had anything to do with how high I could actually go. That fire took me from Madeira to Sporting Lisbon, from Sporting Lisbon to Manchester United, from Manchester United to Real Madrid. Each step felt like a dream becoming real. Each step felt like that little boy on the streets of Madeira, moving closer to something he had always believed was waiting for him. And through all of it, through every trophy and every goal and every record, the World Cup stayed right there, at the back of my mind. Quiet, but always present, like a light that never goes out, reminding me that the most important dream was still out there, still waiting. I played my first World Cup in 2006. I was young and hungry and full of belief. Portugal did well. We finished third, but third was not what I had come for. I came back in 2010 with more experience, more confidence, more quality around me. We went out in the quarterfinals. 2014 hurt in a different way. We did not perform the way we knew we could. We went home early and I sat with that pain for a long time. 2018 came and we pushed again, each tournament carrying the same hope, each tournament ending with the same hollow feeling. And then 2022 arrived, Qatar. By the time I stepped onto that plane to Qatar, I knew something that I had been quietly knowing for a while. I was not getting younger. The body that had carried me through 2 decades of professional football was not the same body it once was. It was still strong. It was still capable, but time leaves its marks on everything, even on me. And I understood in a very deep and very real way that this might be the last time, the last real chance, the last opportunity to do the one thing I had always wanted to do more than anything else. When you know something might be your last chance, everything becomes sharper. Every training session feels more important. Every meal, every sleep, every warm-up, every conversation with your teammates, everything carries more weight. Because you are not just preparing for a tournament anymore, You are preparing for the last chapter of a story you have been writing your whole life. And you want that chapter to be worth reading. Portugal arrived in Qatar with a good team, a really good team, young players full of energy, experienced players full of quality, and a captain who was running on something beyond football, something personal, something that had been building inside him for 20 years. We played well, we scored goals, we got through the group stage, the country was excited, the fans were loud, and I felt something I had not felt at a World Cup in a long time. I felt like we could actually do it. I genuinely believed that this was our time, Portugal's time, my time. And then we played Morocco. I do not want to spend too long on that night because even now it is difficult to revisit. But I will tell you this, that game felt wrong from the very beginning. The energy was different, the feeling was different. Morocco were organized and disciplined, and they wanted it in a way that was impossible to ignore, and we could not find a way through them, no matter what we tried, no matter how hard we pushed. The goal would not come, and when the final whistle blew, the silence in my head was so loud it felt like the whole world had gone quiet. I walked off that field, and I did not know where to look or what to feel or what to do with my hands. I just walked, one step in front of the other, head down, heartbroken. I sat in the dressing room for a long time after that game. I did not speak. I did not need to. There was nothing to say. The room was full of players who had given everything they had, and it still was not enough. And sometimes in football, in life, you give everything, and it is still not enough. That is the hardest lesson. Not the losing, the giving everything and still losing. That is the part that stays with you. That is the part that visited me in quiet moments for months afterward. A few days later, I posted a message. I said that my dream of winning the World Cup for Portugal had ended, and I meant every word. In that moment, I truly believed the door had closed. I thought that was it. The final answer to a question I had been asking my whole career. And the answer was no. People read that message and they understood it as retirement, as surrender, as the end of something. And I understood why they read it that way, because that is how it felt when I wrote it, raw and final and honest. But grief is a strange thing. It does not stay the same shape forever. It changes, it softens. Not because the pain goes away, but because life keeps moving. And at some point you have to decide whether you move with it or whether you stay behind in the hurt. I have never been someone who stays behind. So I got up, I went back to training, I pushed myself harder than I had pushed myself in years, not to prove anything to anyone else, but because when I am working, when I am on the pitch, when the ball is at my feet and my body is moving, I feel like myself. I feel like the boy from Madeira who never needed anyone's permission to believe. And slowly, quietly, the dream came back. Not as a roar, as a whisper at first, soft and careful, but growing, getting louder, getting stronger. People started asking me about 2026. And every time they asked, that whisper got a little bit louder, until one day it was not a whisper anymore. It was a decision. I am going to 2026. I am going to play in one more World Cup. I am going to wear Portugal's shirt one final time on football's biggest stage, and I am going to give every single thing I have left. Now 2026 is not a question anymore. It is here, and I need you to understand something about what this tournament means to me. It is not about records. I have enough records. It is not about proving people wrong. I stopped needing to do that a long time ago. This is about something much simpler, much more personal, much more human. This is about a little boy from Madeira who had a dream so big it did not fit inside the streets around him. A dream he carried through every hard day and every painful loss and every moment when the world told him he was finished. That boy never stopped believing. And this World Cup is for him. Everything I do in this tournament is for that version of me who had nothing but a ball and a hunger that nobody around him could understand. I think about him often now, more than I ever have before. I think about what he would say if he could see where we ended up. I think about the look on his face, and it makes me emotional in a way that surprises me sometimes. Because I am not a man who cries easily. But this gets me every single time. Because it is real. Because it matters. Because some things in life go beyond football and beyond trophies and beyond everything the world measures you by. And this is one of those things. I do not know how this World Cup will end. I have learned enough about football and about life to know that nobody ever really knows how the story ends until it is over. Maybe it ends with everything I have ever wanted. Maybe it ends in heartbreak one more time. But what I know, what I am absolutely certain of, is that I will arrive at this tournament with everything I have. Every drop of energy, every ounce of belief, every piece of the hunger that has driven me since I was a small boy with bare feet and a big dream on a tiny island in the middle of the ocean. I will run like it is my last game. I will fight like everything depends on it. I will play like that little boy is watching, because he is. He is always watching. The dream felt like it ended in 2022, but some dreams are too strong to die from one bad night. Some dreams come back, quieter, deeper, more powerful than before. This is my last World Cup. my final chapter, my last chance to finish the story the way it was always meant to be finished. And I have never wanted anything more in my entire life. One final dream, one final stage, one final chance, and I am ready.